Have you ever been told to always be kind? It sounds simple, right? But has anyone warned you that kindness, when unchecked, can sometimes lead to trouble? Imagine a world where your good intentions pave a path to burnout, resentment, or even being taken advantage of. In today's video, we'll uncover how sky-high expectations, attracting the wrong crowd, or even becoming the go-to person can harm you. We'll also explore why kindness might sometimes be misunderstood as weakness and how it can lead to trust issues. Ready? Let's dive in. 1. Becoming the go-to. Let's face it, if you're always helping, people start treating it as your job. Need a favor? Ask you. Homework help? You again. Before long, you're juggling everyone else's to-do list while yours gathers dust in the corner. This doesn't just leave you exhausted, it creates a cycle where your worth is tied to how much you can do for others. Take Sarah, for example. She's the fix-it person in her friend group, always stepping in to solve problems. But instead of gratitude, she's met with growing expectations. Why? Because kindness without boundaries signals availability, not strength. The fix? Set clear limits. Politely say no, and encourage people to take ownership of their responsibilities. Remember, it's not selfish to protect your time, it's necessary. By prioritizing your own needs, you're actually teaching others a valuable lesson. Self-reliance is empowering, and mutual respect makes relationships stronger. 2. Attracting the wrong crowd. Kindness is like a magnet. It has the power to draw incredible connections and foster meaningful relationships. But here's the flip side. It doesn't just pull in the good, it can attract opportunists too. These are the people who see your generosity not as a virtue, but as a weakness to exploit. Imagine a friend who only calls when they need something, a ride, a favor, or a sympathetic ear, but vanishes when you're the one in need. Over time, this imbalance chips away at your emotional well-being, leaving you drained and questioning your worth. To safeguard your energy, focus on quality over quantity in your relationships. Build connections with people who value and respect you as much as you value and respect them. A great way to gauge this is by observing reciprocity. Do they check in on you, celebrate your wins, or offer support without being asked? If not, it's worth reconsidering how much you invest in them. As the Stoics teach, our time and energy are finite resources. We must allocate them wisely to nurture bonds that uplift rather than deplete us. By doing so, you're not only protecting yourself, but also creating space for authentic, fulfilling relationships to flourish. 3. Sky-high expectations and crushing disappointment. When you're overly generous, it's easy to fall into the trap of expecting the same effort and thoughtfulness in return, but here's the harsh truth. People rarely match your energy. Imagine spending weeks planning and organizing a friend's party, ensuring every detail is perfect, only to receive a perfunctory, happy B-day text on your own special day. It stings, doesn't it? This mismatch of effort can lead to resentment and disappointment, but it doesn't have to. Think like a Stoic and reframe your approach to giving. The philosophy encourages us to give freely without expecting anything in return, finding fulfillment in the act itself. For example, if you help a colleague complete a tough project, do it because it aligns with your values, not because you're hoping for a favor in return. By removing expectations, you shield yourself from unnecessary emotional distress and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Remember, true generosity comes from a place of strength and self-awareness, not from a need for validation or reciprocity. This mindset not only preserves your mental well-being, but also ensures that your kindness remains a source of joy rather than a cause of frustration. 4. Weakness misunderstood. Some people see kindness as weakness, mistaking it for a lack of strength or resolve. When you consistently go above and beyond for others without setting boundaries, you risk being treated like a doormat, someone whose needs are always secondary to everyone else's demands. This perception doesn't just happen overnight. It's cultivated by your unwillingness to say no. Take the case of Anna, a diligent co-worker who was always willing to take on extra tasks. Over time, her colleagues began to offload their responsibilities onto her, assuming she'd never push back. Anna's silence wasn't seen as kindness. It was seen as submission. The antidote? Practice the magic word, no. Saying no is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Oddly enough, people respect those who stand firm far more than those who always agree. By setting clear limits, you communicate that your time and energy are valuable. This not only earns you respect, but also protects your mental well-being, allowing you to channel your efforts into areas where they're genuinely appreciated. As the Stoics remind us, self-discipline and assertiveness are virtues that lead to a balanced, fulfilling life. 5. Trust issues, anyone. When you're too kind, some might assume you're faking it. What's their angle? They'll wonder, doubting your intentions as though genuine kindness has become a rare anomaly in today's world. It's ironic. The very qualities that make you admirable can sometimes provoke suspicion. Why does this happen? Because many people have been conditioned to see ulterior motives behind good deeds, often projecting their own fears or experiences onto others. For instance, consider a neighbor who lends a helping hand during a tough time. Instead of feeling gratitude, someone might question, are they expecting something in return? This cynicism is a reflection of societal distrust rather than a flaw in your character. So, how do you navigate this delicate situation? Stay true to your values. Consistency is your greatest ally. Let your actions speak louder than words. Over time, authenticity shines through, breaking down barriers of doubt. And remember, as the Stoics teach, you cannot control how others perceive you. You can only control your response. By focusing on living in alignment with your principles, you find peace in knowing that your kindness stems from a place of strength and integrity, irrespective of others' skepticism. 6. The gimme crowd. Let's talk about energy vampires, those individuals who only appear when they need something from you, whether it's a favor, your time, or your emotional support. They rarely, if ever, offer anything in return, leaving you feeling drained and unappreciated. These relationships are not only emotionally taxing, but can also erode your sense of self-worth. Imagine constantly giving advice to a friend who never follows it, only to come back again and again with the same problems. Over time, it feels like shouting into a void, doesn't it? The solution lies in being selective about who you invest your energy in. Ask yourself, does this person bring joy and positivity into your life? Or do they leave you feeling exhausted and used? A key Stoic principle is to guard your limited resources, your time, energy, and attention, as though they are treasures. When you prioritize relationships that are mutually uplifting, you create space for genuine connections to flourish. At the same time, distancing yourself from energy vampires is not an act of cruelty, but one of self-preservation. By protecting your mental and emotional reserves, you ensure that your kindness is directed where it truly matters, allowing you to give from a place of strength rather than depletion. 7. The slippery slope to burnout. Did you know kindness can become addictive? Helping others releases feel-good chemicals in your brain, creating a rewarding cycle of positivity. However, this cycle can spiral into overcommitment, leaving you mentally and physically drained. Imagine spending every waking hour solving problems for others, only to find yourself snapping at loved ones over minor inconveniences or collapsing into bed at the end of the day with nothing left to give. This isn't kindness, it's self-neglect disguised as altruism. To break this pattern, take a moment to reassess your boundaries. Ask yourself, are you giving out of genuine care, or are you seeking external validation? The Stoics remind us that balance is key to a virtuous life. By prioritizing your own well-being, you're not only preserving your energy, but also ensuring that your acts of kindness are sustainable. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking time to recharge, Whether it's through rest, hobbies, or quiet reflection, you ensure that your generosity comes from a place of strength, making it all the more meaningful and impactful. 8. Losing yourself in the process. By putting others first 24/7, you risk losing sight of your own goals and dreams, sacrificing your personal growth for the sake of others. It's like being a taxi driver, constantly chauffeuring people to their destinations, yet never charting a path toward your own. Over time, this can lead to a sense of emptiness or resentment as you watch others thrive while your aspirations gather dust. Imagine spending years supporting a friend's career, only to realize you've neglected your own passions and ambitions. The Stoics remind us that balance is essential. Helping others should not come at the expense of neglecting your own needs. Reflect on this. Are you avoiding your own challenges by immersing yourself in others' problems? Sometimes, focusing outward can be a way to escape inner struggles, but this avoidance only delays the inevitable confrontation with yourself. Instead, practice self-prioritization. By taking steps to nurture your dreams and invest in your own growth, you not only enrich your own life, but also become a stronger, more authentic supporter for those around you. After all, how can you effectively help others if you're running on empty? Practical tips to protect yourself. 1. Listen to your gut. You know that little voice in your head? The one that tells you something feels off? That's your built-in radar, your gut instinct, and it's there to protect you. If you find that helping someone starts to feel more like a chore or an obligation rather than a genuine act of kindness, it's a red flag. For example, if you're repeatedly bailing out a coworker who never reciprocates or even acknowledges your efforts, it might be time to reassess. Prioritizing your mental health isn't selfish, it's essential. Your gut is often the first to signal when you're giving too much, so listen to it. It rarely steers you wrong. 2. Embrace no as self-care. No isn't just a word, it's a boundary, a shield, and an affirmation of your self-worth. Many of us hesitate to say it because we fear disappointing others or being seen as unkind. But consider this. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could nourish you. Practice saying no. Start small. Maybe declining a task that's not your responsibility at work. Stand in front of a mirror and rehearse it if you have to. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you someone who values their own time and energy. And here's the kicker. People respect those who respect themselves. 3. Schedule me time. Think of me time as an appointment with yourself, one you absolutely cannot miss. Whether it's an hour at the gym, a quiet morning painting, or simply binge-watching your favorite series, this time is non-negotiable. Make it a ritual. For instance, every Sunday morning could be your sacred time for a long walk and a coffee break. By carving out this space, you're not just recharging, you're setting a precedent that your well-being matters. And guess what? When you're well-rested and fulfilled, you're better equipped to help others in a meaningful way. 4. Spot and avoid energy vampires. Not all relationships are created equal, and some are outright toxic. Energy vampires are those who drain your emotional reserves without offering anything positive in return. They're the friends who only call when they need something, the colleague who constantly complains but never seeks solutions. Protecting yourself from these individuals isn't cruel, it's necessary. Start by setting limits. Maybe you limit how much time you spend with them or how often you engage in their negativity. Focus on relationships that uplift you, where kindness is a two-way street. Your energy is a precious resource. Treat it as such and invest it wisely. Kindness is a gift, but even gifts need limits. By balancing generosity with self-care, you can help others without losing yourself in the process. So the next time you're tempted to say yes, remember, it's okay to put yourself first. After all, you matter too. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on living your best life. See you next time.